on time. Just on time. All right. You too, Mark, coming in running a little tight. Okay, so obviously a lot of work last couple days here of getting to the initial 53 in practice squad. I would tell you guys the dust has not settled. I always say truthfully, so the times I don't say truthfully, you think I'm lying, but truthfully, the dust has not settled. The better indication of the 53-man roster in the practice squad will be on Monday. I would say that. So I know you guys are going to have questions and stuff, and that's cool. But every team right now there's a period of time here in the next couple of days. Monty's doing it right now. The dust hasn't settled. But I feel really good about where we're at right now, and look forward to today. We're on the practice field today and tomorrow. A lot of work done. So with that, go ahead.
How much turnover do you expect between now and Monday on that?
I mean, we're always going to do what's best for the Rock. Great shorts, Donnie. We're always going to do – I got the same ones, not in that color. I think they look good. I don't know, Josh. I think there will be some, honestly, because it's just, trying to kind of maneuver the roster the way you want it. A lot of factors at play. So I think there'll be some, not a ton, but there will be some.
With guys that might be in or out or be on that edge, did they get a heads up, or is it essentially?
Yeah, they know. We talked to those guys. We're, obviously we're truthful with, what the plan is. Here's what's going on. This is what, and sometimes, like yesterday, it's news. Sometimes it's news that they don't want to hear, but they know that we're going to do things that's best for the team. So they're aware that the roster is truthfully always in flux. And yeah, roles are defined, right now as we sit here today. They'll be really defined on Monday when it kind of settles, when the dust settles. But the roles can change quickly, so they understand that.
Is part of that discussion also saying to guys, hey, we want to bring you back to the practice squad?
Absolutely.
Clear waivers out.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of guys have decisions on that too, So we always say, like, I want to do what's best for those guys too, Now I think a lot of those guys, the best thing would be to stay on our practice squad. That's their clearest path to getting a jersey on game day. I truly believe that. If you look at our numbers from last year, that would show it. But they got to do what's best for them, and I understand that part of the business as well. I wish all those guys well that don't end up being here.
What more did Clayton show you to earn that backup spot?
Yeah, I think just, the all-encompassing role of playing the backup quarterback. Danny, I thought that he did a really good job. I thought he's improved his game from last year to this year. Command, playing faster, taking care of the ball. I know he had the interception when he came back in last. But, yeah, I think just it was really close, And they both did a really good job, but I feel good about Clayton.
That pick, it seemed like that was a situation that more mimics the regular season game than any other situation.
Yeah.
He comes off the bench, and then how did you feel about that play?
Yeah, well, that's, Monty and I talked about it with the addendum of when he came out of the game, he didn't think he was going back in the game. So when you're the two, you always are ready to go in the game. So, but you're right that there's 100%. That interception goes to show you to the naked eye, looks like it's on him. All 11 guys got to do their job to make sure that doesn't happen.
On the flip side of that, yeah, there was that interception, but neither one of those guys, you said taking care of the ball, they hadn't turned the ball over the entire preseason. That has to be high on the list, especially for a reserve quarterback.
1,000% high. It's high on for K1's list too. The ball is a winning stat. So, yeah, but that is a huge point to, if you're going in the game on game day as a backup quarterback, you didn't get a ton of reps. Psychologically, it's something that you have to prepare for and deal with the right way, or it can spiral and be not a good experience. So But that is always going to be one of our things with the quarterback is you got to take care of the football.
That's the hardest position in the NFL, you think?
Quarterback?
Backup quarterback.
I would think the starting quarterback is, but then backup quarterback, yeah, it's hard, yeah. You could argue that. I wouldn't argue against you.
How do you develop those guys throughout the season when there are so few reps available?
The quarterback or everybody? I would love to talk about this. We actually, not to say it's right or wrong, we do some different things to make sure that we are playing football throughout the week and not just carding everything. And I learned that from, honestly, Nick Sirianni was the first guy to do it like that. And talking about it with different staff members, things like that, he had his reasons why he did that. But we run cards. We don't run a ton of cards, and there's reasons behind that. One of them being we need to see you guys that, are backups or on the practice squad play football and develop. In the practice squad, I'll tell those guys on Monday, and they know this, it's like not a landing spot. It's really a trampoline. And like if you're not improving your game, and you're going to get times to show us that you are improving your game. If you're not, we're going to replace you. That's just the nature of that, spot. So I feel really good. I think that's one of the reasons, and we'll see this year, but I thought last year we did improve as the season kept going. I think how we set up practice is because of how we set it up. I think that was one of the reasons. I didn't come up with it. I'd never done it like that through my whole time in the NFL, and Coach Sirianni did. And I saw the value of that, and that's how we it's a little bit different, but we structure it like that.
The things that Michael did for you, Michael Carter, what are the conversations like about keeping?
Yeah, tough one. Dust hasn't settled on that. I'd say that. But Mike's a good player. I mean, you saw when we acquired him last year, the value that he added to our team, But again, you got to weigh, him with everybody else. You know what I mean? But I value Michael Carter very high. He's a very good football player. He fits what we do here. And, we'll see what happens here going forward.
When you were constructing the 53, at least the initial 53, how much did the new kickoff come into play at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, all four phases, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say just the new kickoff, all four phases, And then a cool thing for me is, you guys could maybe do this too. The better question to me is when you're keeping the 53 is who's getting a jersey on game day. And that really makes the picture pretty clear. You know what I mean? So you got to weigh that too. Jeff Rogers he helps me a lot with that, because it frames your mind in a different way to, okay, well, if these guys are getting jerseys, this guy isn't going to get a jersey. Is that the right thing to do for the 53? So you got to keep that into account too. But I say when the dust settles on Monday or early next week, I will feel really good about the 53 in the practice squad going to beat Buffalo.
We know that the team, there wasn't at least any players assigned on waivers today from yesterday. Is that as much when everyone looks at it and says, is someone we bring in going to be an upgrade over who's already here?
That's when you make a claim, that's what you're thinking. You know what I mean? So that's probably a better question for Monty, but there's some things going on right now, of those sorts. That's, and that can be for a number of different reasons, you know what I mean? So Howard, the business. It's like when you do that, you got to be pretty convicted that, what that guy's going to do for you when he walks into the building. So, and we've had conviction on that too. We've done that. Last year. Look at the guys that made the team right now. They're going to be impactful players for us. That was right now. So Higgy Bear, Starr, guys off the top of my head, Tristan Colon, like a lot of those guys. So that goes into there's 365 days. You're trying to upgrade your roster as much as you can, do the best thing for the team. So it's not just the acquisition period that everybody talks about. It's every day. Good question, Howard. You're correct.
Back to the development of the guys on the practice squad in particular, does the expanded roster there allow you to do different things, or are there things that you want to do differently with more guys there?
No, I just think that it's just, and with the rules now too, with, I think way back when, I'm not versed on the rules way back when because I didn't have to worry about it, but the age of guys can be a little bit different too, right? So there's a couple reasons, to keep guys, you know what I mean? But I think the main ones for me is they have to be ready to play on game day and have a jersey. So, and be ready to play offense and special teams or defense and special teams, right? They have to be like, that can be on a Friday. That could be on a 2-day trip to Buffalo. That could be on a Saturday. Someone wakes up sick. You don't get one rep. You don't think you're going to get a jersey. You're on the practice squad, and all of a sudden, hey, you're up and playing. They got to prepare just like they're on the roster. The other thing I would say is, during the practice week, they got to practice the right way. Which our guys do, you know what I mean? Because they are running some cards, or we do go 2 versus 1s, 1s versus 2s. We have developmental periods. Like, there's time for those guys to improve their game, which they need to if we're going to have success as a team.
What went into trading Cam, and then you guys played him a lot this preseason? Was that for you guys to get a longer look at him, or was that to kind of have him get more tape to shop him around?
No, I think it just, the opportunity arose when it did, and I think it just was the best thing for both sides. So I wish Cam nothing but the best. Talked to him. He was an excellent dude to be around for a year and a half, you know what I mean, and he'll do well there.
You mentioned the dust having to settle, and you talked about Michael Carter. The decision with Chris Barnes, and especially with the inside linebacker group.
Yeah.
Right now only has 3.
Yeah.
I know you probably say that might change, but still.
You'll see Chris out there today. So that's just part of roster mechanics, and movement going on the last 48 hours. So you'll see Chris out there today. I'm glad we have him. He's going to be an integral part of what we do.
Xavier Weaver goes from undrafted
Yeah.
to making this squad for now. What can he do to extend his stay?
Keep improving his game, Bo. You know what I mean? Obviously you guys saw, he flashed in practice and games. I like where he's at. He has a skill set that's pretty unique. He can play on 4th down as well, which that went into that decision. And when you look at, the totality of the NFL, like, we wanted to make sure we kept him. He's got a bright future ahead if he keeps doing the things that he's been doing.
Give us some insight into the decision to bring Desmond Ritter back to the practice squad.
Insight as far as I want Des back. I think he can help us. So, hopefully he comes back on practice squad. And just because he's on practice squad and Clayton is the 2, Clayton knows that's competition every day for that spot. So, that's all of our guys, not just the backup quarterback spot. So if you're on the practice squad or the roster, you're competing. You know what I mean? Their roles are defined going into Buffalo, but those roles can change quick.
Ultimately, what did Xavier Thomas show you to make the initial 50?
Yeah, he can, the 3, if you break it down to 3 things of that position: rush the quarterback, set a violent edge, and drop in coverage. I thought he did a good job in all 3 of them. I thought that he continued to improve from his mistakes as we got going. Because honestly, I thought he was a touch behind when we started camp with those other guys, and he just kept doing a good job of improving his game, making plays when plays were there for him to make. I like what he's doing right now. I like where he's at, knowing that he's got a long way to go too, and he knows that.
What is your comfort level with that outside linebacker group?
I'm comfortable. Yeah, I am. I know, you guys might not be comfortable, but that's okay. That's your opinion. We're going to figure out with what we have going into Buffalo. We'll put a plan together that is the best thing for our players and our team to win the game. And that can look different, a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? So, we're drastically different than this team, than that team, than the other team. Everyone has different ways to do things. And I think we're going to be fine. And we have to. It's on the coaches to do a good job with who we have to make sure that we can have success.
You and Monty have talked about the flexibility that practice squad gives you. So inherent in these decisions, sometimes when you have 53 active roster, only 46 of those can be active for the game. But you have the
48, right?
Well, 48 counting 2 from the practice squad elevated.
Yeah.
So bringing those guys
He
up.
knows rules better than me. You're making me confused right now, Howard. I thought I knew what was going on, but obviously, clearly I don't. Go ahead.
Not two from the practice
Huge.
squad.
Huge.
Doesn't affect, affect not having to have someone active from the 50.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's guys that that you will see on our practice squad. They know they have a role going into game day if this happens or if this happens, and they know the reasons why. So, like I said, every spot that we have at our disposal is very important.
With some of the fluidity still you mentioned on the roster, how do you guys kind of structure this week? Is it starting to prepare for Buffalo, or how does this?
Yeah, no, we're more cards on cards this week. I believe in that. I think you can get a little mental fatigue practicing for week one too long. We get a bonus Monday as well, so we'll introduce certain guys. Introduced them this week at the end of the week, but we'll have some Buffalo on Monday this week. I want to go good on good, fast on fast. We'll go twos versus ones versus twos. We'll go ones on ones, twos on twos, situational ball. We're practicing. We got to go. This is a big week as far as, and to ramp some volume where we sit here today. That's kind of part of the plan the whole time. And luckily we're healthy right now, so we can field that type of practice. It's going to be hard on them today because when you go out there, it's almost eerie. The team meeting yesterday, it's like you go from all these guys in seats and then there's nobody in seats, right? And the rookies are going to go out to practice today and be like, where is everybody? But that's the NFL, right? But it's going to be, the pace is going to be fast today, and there's a lot of volume. So hopefully the sun stays down a little bit.
You've talked about the challenges of bringing somebody to the room and telling them that they did not make the roster, but peeling back the curtain a little bit, whether it's a guy like Xavier Weaver, knowing the stories of everybody's journey, what's it like to tell them that they did make the roster?
Yeah, they're excited, but they know that it's not an end point. Like, this really, to me, is a starting point now of growth that needs to happen, and I communicate that to those guys, and they know that, their situations can change like that, so, but that is one of the cooler things, I normally do that on my own one-on-one, especially with those rookies, because it's a big thing for those guys that they should be proud of that. It's hard to get on a 53, in an NFL team.
Was it close with Darius in terms of evaluating maybe he'll be ready before 4 weeks, or was this make sense and I want to make sure that he's right?
Yeah, you see my hesitancy with answering that. With injuries, Howard, like you don't know. I can't see into the future. I don't like to play hypotheticals of guys, how they recover and rehab and everything. I think the decision to do what we did was best for the team and best for him, where that kind of puts him. He's doing well, though.
How much more streamlined did you feel this whole process was compared to last year when you and Monty were going at it?
I don't know. I think it always, you think it is, but there's some right turns, left turns, some in Indy. What is it? The roundabouts. The cab driver was saying that they have like one of the top. They have like the most in the United States. I didn't know that. But there's always going to be some twists and turns that you got to take. But I thought that. The communication with Monty, myself, the staff, there was really no surprises. Like, everyone kind of was in the know. They were in the know of what was going on, and if this, then this, if this, then this, kind of. So there was no surprises. Our guys are coaches, the staff, we're ready to go.
Do you pick your battles on who to stand on the table for, or do you just kind of, if you want to go?
We're in lockstep of what we're doing. I haven't stood on a table once since I've been here.
This week, what's that like? The last couple of days, it's been probably super hard.
Yeah, it is. I got home last night and I started talking about it with my wife, and I normally don't talk ball with my wife, and she was like, "Oof, you needed to get that off your chest, huh?" Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here's what I say: the empathy in me, or the human element in me, you got to understand what these guys like to sacrifice and what they're going through, and they're not 41, been through a lot. They're 21, 22, 23 years old. So, like a lot of guys like don't really even know when you tell them what's going on. They don't even know the process of clearing waivers, coming back, not going, finding somewhere else, having to possibly wait for a week. Like, there's just a lot of newness to that for those guys. So, and then they're going through the disappointment of possibly not making the team, or the joy of making the team. But, oh, by the way, like this, and this, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you feel you care about your players. and you feel for their feelings, you know what I mean, what they're going through. So yeah, it was, it's always kind of an emotional day, but, again, you gotta, try to, stay level and do what's best for the team and communicate with them honestly, and that's the best you can do.
What was it better for you this year after having done it been through it in your role for the first time?
I don't know. I don't know, honestly, Howard. Yeah, it's always tough. It'll always be tough.
We'll make that the last one, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah, 10:30, boys. Let's go. Thanks, guys.